Right, the focus of this session is going to be around onboard retail. I think the issues that I'll look to explore will be an opportunity to hear for a couple of minutes from everybody on their thoughts on onboard retail, what the key trends and issues are at the moment, where customers are being retailed to death on board, and where some of the opportunities may lie. If I could, perhaps I could kick off with the supplier rather than the airlines for a change, and let's hear from Sue first. What do you think are the key issues and the opportunities for you?
Well, I think whilst driving revenue is really important, it's what we're all focused on. I think we've all heard today various different views about being sold to death, about adding value for the customer experience and those sort of things. So it's not just about driving revenue, it's about making that revenue more profitable. Not competing with yourself, so you're not fighting over the same pound in the pocket. So what value can you add for the customer by selling something that makes it more convenient for them to buy from you than to stand in a queue perhaps at their destination? And how can you control aspects of that revenue so that it's flowing directly through to your bottom line rather than leaking out en route?
Okay. Julian, would you care to comment?
Sure. From an airline perspective, if you can hear me okay, from an airline perspective, I mean, my initial just general thoughts about increasing the ability to make money from in-flight, it's more about advance notification and getting people to spend money in advance. As David was just talking about, competing with the airport, and that is really our actual biggest thing, is that we are competing with people who probably aren't going to be influenced in spending a lot more or a lot less. But they know they want something. They might get it at the airport. They might get it in flight. If they don't know what you've got in flight, they'll get it at the airport. So from our perspective, I think and I don't say we do this particularly well, it's something we need to focus on, is about making people aware of what we've got on board, getting their money before they fly, advance purchases, etc. I think is a good way of doing it. And then when they're on board, we are using our cabin crew as customer service people, not necessarily salespeople, so it's developing them more sales focused and being really good at customer service and sales as well. So it's a combination of everything. It's quite straightforward, I believe.
All right, let's move one more this way to Andrzej. Your turn.
Actually, Julian covered a very important thing, two things actually. We've observed in EnterAir, give you an example, last winter we have introduced a part of other things we are selling on board, in-flight entertainment, portable devices. And theoretically we're expecting people will like it. Of course everybody right now has got his laptop or hers iPads, however, theoretically there was from that what we knew from the survey, we've made customers should be attracted with that. However, it was very poor result. What we've done, we have introduced this as a pre-flight option, so people can book it online. And because we resigned for summer season, but we reintroduced it for winter, and already a big chunk of flights and all the devices are pre-booked. So it shows that when we go to the customer and tell him this is something you might get, people are smart, and the last thing they want, they would like to avoid is that we put our hand into their pockets without their control. So we need to make them think they control the money they spend. That's why letting them pre-book either food or duty-free items or in-flight entertainment gives significantly better results. The second important thing is to, what has been actually addressed already, to have the crew involved. What we have done, we don't have a fixed commission for crews, we share the profit with crews. And this is the claim our cabin crew has got from us, and I must admit they are very, very efficient, and they really sell to the death, and they are very effective in that.
Let's come over to a Moroccan and then a Thai perspective.
From our side, I think we still exactly we have the same process. That's we try to push the client to book in advance and to process in advance. This is clear. That's and how to send reminder emails or some newsletter or something even before a flight, 2 or 3 days before the flight. And this is very important because to catch the money before that's passenger going to the airport and lose the money in the airport. And after that, the second point is regarding, again, the same as the flight attendant. From our side, we developed some profiling per routes, because on some routes we have some pure ethnic traffic, some other routes we have tourism traffic, and some other routes we have mixed people. So regarding this population, this different population, so maybe our flight attendant will sell more product, and we have we'll have an attitude totally different when she's selling some product during the flight. So the more important is to be very sensitive about our client and to see what is the product that we are looking for. We can give an example. That's 1 year ago, and I was discussing this last year. Was thinking to launch a product, and was the first airline on this area that's launching a product to the phone, the telephony product on board, because with some Moroccan living in Europe and coming back in Morocco, some tourists paying visit to Morocco don't want to pay roaming during communication when they are staying in Morocco. So we are selling some low-cost phone at 20 euros, something like that, with the Maroc Telecom communication or something like that. So this is we are trying to be more and more understanding what the passenger and the client is looking for, and making a profiling per route. This is very, very important.
Okay. We only fly domestic, so the only thing we sell is crap on board. Basically, the crap that we do sell, basic what Nokia is all about, the teddy bears and all that nonsense. And we make quite a bit of money from it, fortunately. Thing is, my opinion towards the whole of the idea of onboard sales is that we as an airline have sort of a one-track mindset that we're trying to compete against the airport, what we're going to sell in the air. And I tell you, it's difficult to compete because the products, varieties at the airport will beat the hell out of what we can carry on board. In terms of pricing as well, probably. So, and lots of people, when they buy products, they want to try it. They want to try wearing it, putting the girls put all these makeup on and blushes, and you know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, what we have to look beyond that is that we're talking about a virtual mall that could happen on the ground, meaning that you actually can sell your product on your website when they're actually buying the tickets. Now, you don't have to give it on board if you don't have to, but you can send it to them because you have an aircraft that can deliver to their homes. So basically, you have to think beyond that. You can sell anything you want as well, all the way to a lawnmower if you want to sell it, if you want to. But you have to be very creative in thinking that your website, that actually selling your tickets, in terms of the extra revenue that you can provide, actually comes from selling the product on the website as well, just like all the the web malls that exist. If that's the case scenario, then you can add the revenue of delivering fees and all that nonsense and blah, 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 blah. And also, because it's so wide, you can actually talk to suppliers for more volumes with lesser price against the airport. I promise you, it'll be much better. I think that's the way to go for the future anyways.
One of the questions I'd want to ask, everyone's talked about ancillary revenue for quite a while. Everybody's been having a go at trying to capitalize on it. Where do you think customers are starting to encourage or experience, onboard or otherwise, a sense of fatigue around ancillaries and being pushed too far?
I actually think it's quite an exciting time at the moment in terms of in-flight retail, because all my fellow panellists have come up with sort of different ideas, similar ideas, really being able to leverage the internet, leverage your websites. And I think that's really what successful in-flight retailing is all about. And again, David mentioned it in some of what he was saying earlier, because every time you interact with that customer, you're building a relationship with that customer. Now, if you can then offer that customer something that they want every time you interact with them without forcefully selling, and then again, that comes back to what you've mentioned about educating crew, making sure your range is focused, thinking about, you know, what might my customer want to buy. And yes, you know, if telephone roaming is a thing, if you've got a business customer who might want a dual SIM, these sort of things, it's really giving consideration to what you're offering, when you offer it, and how you offer it. And with entertainment as well. You know, people do want to be amused. For a lot of people, at the moment where only limited airlines are offering connectivity, your travelling time is the only time really you have some peace and quiet, some downtime to yourself. And the more choice you can offer that customer whilst they're travelling with you, I think, on how they spend that time, then the better relationship, and then you'll again do what, you know, the guys were talking about this morning about getting some customer loyalty, bringing them back because they've had an enjoyable experience at the right price, but they've enjoyed their time with you.
But isn't part of the inherent contradiction in that if you're giving people quiet space and then you give them, as people intend to, mobile on board, you have the potential risk of people taking calls at the least possible advantageous time for everybody else, and invading that sense of space and privacy for everybody else. So how do you strike the balance?
Well, that's what I was saying about you can't get connectivity on a lot of airlines at the moment. So I know some have tried it and not continued it, but it is some of your only quiet time. So it really is the opportunity to make the most of that. Okay. I mean, I know some of our customers are Norwegian, for example, is one of our customers, and they have on some of their new aircraft put the connectivity on board to encourage their business customer, and they're offering that service for free. As a retailer, you know, that is a risk to us, if you like, because it's distracting the customer from other activity they could be doing through us on board an aircraft. So from a supplier point of view, it's understanding how can we leverage that. As I said, it's a very exciting time. There's a lot of technology coming along that really will change the way we do business. You know, people being able to pre-order wherever they want along the journey, and widening the offer, be it food or, you know, gifts or tickets or whatever. I think it's just going to be really exciting and interesting.
But coming back to one of the other points I think that was been talked about earlier in the day, the profitability of revenue. Which do you think are the elements that really drive value to the bottom line for you within the airline sector? Because there are different components here. There's selling stuff that has very little supplier cost or supplier chain sitting behind it. The beverage point that David was making earlier, which of those are the ones that you think generate the highest margins and the greatest share of profitability? Because Ryanair will say 20-25%. I think Allegiant's meant to be in the 35% category. Says that's what they get from ancillaries. It's never quite clear how that breaks down into onboard and below. Be interesting to hear whether you have perspectives to share across your airlines.
Regarding profitability on the ancillary revenue on board, we are more focused on the first to try to offer some new product and the basic product and new product to our clients. But every time driven by the profitability, and also not too complex the system on the operational side. This is the more important for us. There is no complexity. This is the first point, because if there is no complexity, there is no additional cost or hidden cost. After that, of course, we try to drive our product and our sale regarding the profitability and how our passenger will react with this product and the price that we are offering during the flight. For instance, every time we try to offer some new product and adapt ourselves. Starting this winter, we will have some huge development from Marrakesh. It's the major touristic destination in Morocco, and we will sell on board there is a famous discotheque in Marrakesh, is the Pasha, like in Ibiza, and we will sell some tickets in order to have a fast track. To sell a bottle of 200 euros. Somebody would like a vodka on a table or something like that. And for the people that are going to disco, maybe we will sell something Marrakesh during the day, something like that. And also we'll develop some spa. We have some agreement with some spa network and offer some spa. So during 3 hours, people coming from Paris or from Lyon, maybe they could be interested to have a good deal on the spa, because if he go alone to a spa, he will pay, I don't know, 50 euro, but with us he will pay only 40 euros, something like that. And they take I take without any risk a margin on this product. So the profitability is very important, but again, we should be very close to the profiling per flight. And this is very, very important, because more you're developing the profiling per flight, and better you increase your profitability, because you are more sensitive more close to your passenger, and he is more willing to pay for something new for him.
But wouldn't profiling per flight have inherent inconsistencies in it, and that it'll increase the cost of complexity if you're going to offer different SKUs, different products on every given route?
No, it's not something complex for us, because first we have some profiling selling for our crew per route, and tell him, look, this is the product, or this is top 3 product on this route that you should sell. But on the operational side, we have some very good relationship with the local provider in Morocco, and we have only one unique provider, and this is for us very, very important. It is not necessary to have multi partner or something like that. So what we're doing is that we are starting the negotiation with the provider, making all the negotiation, and at the end telling okay to our supplier at the airport, okay, right now we put the bridge with them, and at this time they are only managing the operational side.
Interesting. Can I come back to the point about crew and incentivization? I'd be interested in understanding a little bit more about that. You mentioned your profit-sharing arrangement, but you were non-specific about what that profit-sharing arrangement was.
And I won't be very specific, the same way as we are not very specific with crews. But at least, they've got. I mean, honestly, we really share in a way the profits we are generating from sales, and our crews, comparing to other airlines, are getting really, really good commission from the sales. And as I said, it is not percentage-wise from the revenue, but it is about the profit they generate. That's why we try to educate our crews, and they more or less know that on tea, coffee, water, or beer, we have significantly higher margins than on salad or sandwich. And they are trying to somehow persuade the potential customer to buy this particular item. So that's their somehow contribution to onboard sales. Second thing is, I didn't mention, but I think it's been somehow mentioned here, that it's important as well to entertain people. We serve leisure customer. And for example, over the time of a summer season, where there is a holidays and plenty of families are traveling with children, on big majority of flights we have hired magicians, and magicians who entertain children. And believe me, the results are great, because parents are so happy that their children don't take away parts of the aircraft and don't play with trying to open the window, but they are somehow amused in a different way, that parents are behaving by more relaxed, and they as well purchase things they wouldn't normally. At least we see it in revenue. On the other hand, when winter time comes, and for example on some routes when we have more diverse flying with us to Egyptian resorts, we have very nice hostesses pouring vodka, and again, a majority of gentlemen, even if they didn't consider to purchase a drink, they purchase just to get in touch with this nice, nice lady. Unfortunately, we didn't introduce something for our ladies, but I think it will come. Second important thing has been not touched is what we have introduced. We gave people possibility to take more luggage with them. It's theoretically against the Bible, against the ABC. However, majority of from my previous experiences, we were always trying to limit the allowance of luggage in of one piece. So it was initially 20 kilograms, then 16, 18, 15. We came back to 20, and I think that this is a figure where people are not really used to, and in majority of cases they have excess luggage because they think 20 is plenty, is much more than they used to carry flying previously. So they collect always more things with them, and we generate additional revenue from excess luggage.
Can I just pick up on that? Because you asked before about what items people are getting tired of being sold, and baggage, actually, just following off from Andrzej's point, is one I think that we've really seen a challenge in baggage revenues, because people are very wise to it now and will do everything they can to take as much stuff on board as possible. But I think Andrzej's point is a really interesting one, because actually I think sometimes if you try and sell too hard or too much, you actually end up selling less. And with a baggage perspective, we are never going to get the amount of baggage in the hold paid for that we used to have when the revenues were a lot lower, when the price per bag was a lot lower. I think we started pricing our bags at like £2, and now we're up in sort of 15 to 20, depending where you're flying. It'd be a very brave move to go back to take the price of that baggage right down again to try and get the volume again. So I don't think we're going to do that. So we have to accept the fact that our baggage revenue will be diluted. But our focus is about getting good profit rather than bad profit. What we'd rather have is people fly with us again, enjoy the experience, and we'd rather get £300 in advance bookings in the next year than £30 for a bag now. So doing it right. But just again on the in-flight bit and the tiring of getting tired of things being sold to you, there are certain airlines, I think, which hound you with sales every second of the flight. You're sold something all the time. And actually on those flights, I've seen less stuff sold than I have on flights where we try and do a much more gentle, friendly customer service focus. I think people don't like being consciously sold to. I think they want to be sold to in a gentle way. And so in theory, you might think you're not selling as aggressively, but I do actually believe that in the long run, people tend to buy more if they're more comfortable. And that again comes back down to the cabin crew, having them incentivized well, but also just trained well and to do a good job. We focus very much at bmibaby on letting the crew have fun in what they do. And if they're having fun, enjoying their role, enjoying what they're doing, generally they'll sell naturally without even trying.
Great. I think now's a good time to turn to questions from the floor. Brilliant. There we have. Gentleman over there.
Yes, I have one question, especially we've been talking today about expanding...
Sorry, could I ask you to identify who you are?
Oh, sorry, I'm Jonathan Hutt. I'm from Spring Airlines again in China. Obviously for us, ancillary revenue and onboard sales has been a major part of our revenue generation in the past, but we've been moving away from onboard sales and particularly focusing more and more online. So looking at expanding online sales, when you do that, you are facing competition from some major internet retailers, particularly in our region. So how can airline go head-to-head with a company, or companies perhaps, which have better resources, maybe better market penetration? What do you think the challenges are in Europe in this sense?
In Europe, you're talking about?
Europe, Asia, America,
It'll be
whatever.
worldwide,
I'm fine with
if you're on
everything.
internet, right? Basically, I think you have to start thinking about your target consumers. What do they really, really want? You know, if you want to buy, because people do, when they have the minds to travel, they actually will go to your website anyway. So actually, you're getting the captured market right from the start. The key point now is that what you want to sell is going to be related to what they're going to need. For example, if you're going to Europe in winter, basically you can start selling any crap that relates to snow, right? This is sort of thing that you can actually move into. But my point of view is that the Onboard, you know, if you want to sell some stuff, I swear to God, you just give salty popcorns for free. People will start buying Coca-Cola because so you have to take the idea from the pubs, you know. I steal away ideas from pubs sometimes. When salty popcorns is given for free, they feel really gratified. Have high gratitude for the free freebies, but at the end of the day, you start paying for Coca-Cola because your lips are so dry. And if you want to sell your blankets, turn on the air conditioner, for God's sake. It'll be cold, and people will buy blankets as well. I mean, I'm not saying that we actually do this every time, but we occasionally we actually do this. But when you're selling on internet, if you look at your consumers carefully, that where you're flying to and stuff like that, and should be connected to where you're flying to, basically there's going to be certain needs that you can actually beat the hell out of the other retailers, because once it's on your website already, that's the sort of captured audience in what you're going to do. So in terms of the website design, you can actually hook up to the retailer such as hers, you know, whatever, and then she will have to do the study, what the consumer needs are, and all you have to do is to pay or share revenue with her, and that's it. That's how it works. So you don't have to do it yourself. That's what I'm trying to get at. So you reduce your costs this way.
Just the other thing on the website, it's not just about selling online tax-free goods, etc., or goods and services, but literally just selling the catering that we have on board. Yeah, because just making people know that you can get a hot bacon sandwich on the flight before you go means you don't have to buy it in the airport. Which, just for the airport people in the room, hi Kim from East Midlands.
Airports.
And it comes back to your question before from Spring Airlines. The airport airline, this is the one point where we have real challenges, because we want to work with the airport, we want win-win relationships, but we also want a good deal because it's going to give volume to the airport in passengers. The problem is now we're talking about trying to make sure that none of those passengers spend any money in the airport and they spend it all on us. I don't think there is an easy answer to that question. I think it's about, we just all have to be commercial enterprises and do the best we can for our customers, because it's very difficult, I think, to reach a partnership arrangement around that.
Oh, I didn't know there was airports here. I'm sorry.
Any other questions from the floor? There we are.
Are any of you using mobile communications at this point the idea of sort of touching their head by giving them information that they need, communicating to their heart by saying, we understand your situation, and then tapping the wallet? I mean, is anybody using en route communication to a mobile device to do any of the suggestive?
Well, one of our biggest customers is EasyJet, and as Carolyn McCall said this morning, that they are interacting a lot more with their customers using mobile communications. And as their onboard retailer, we work very closely with them as an organisation across all aspects of the organisation. And therefore, we use any opportunity we have to emphasise the fact that there is a range of goods available on board. We look at sort of giving them offers. So, for example, again, apologies to the airports, but to a lot of airlines, it's much cheaper if a customer checks in online than actually presents themselves at a check-in desk. So we offer an incentive at the moment, just a small one, to an EasyJet customer, that if they book online, they actually get a discount off something on board the aircraft, which, again, from EasyJet's point of view, gives their customer some sort of value for using that service, and also emphasises the message that they offer a range of goods to their customers on board the flight. So you've already put that sort of idea in the customer's head, oh, there are things that I can buy, you know, I can get a coffee, and it's a reputable brand, and all those sort of bits and pieces.
Any more questions? Okay, I think at this stage we're probably in time for coffee. So I believe we're running up to coffee now and a speed networking session in the back. Thank you very much.